Oscar Wilde once said, "Be yourself, everyone else is taken." Simple and obvious, and yet most people spend a significant part of their lives doing the exact opposite. Fitting in, toning themselves down, apologising for their accent, their humour, their quirks, trying to sound like someone else. And language learners, they do it more than anyone. Today on A Cup of Tea with John, we're talking about authenticity, why it matters in life, why it matters even more in language learning, and why your accent, your personality, and your individual way of expressing yourself are strengths, not weaknesses to be ironed out. We're going to look at what Dante, Oscar Wilde, and Janis Joplin had to say about it. And there's a B2 level dictation at the end, so have a pen and paper ready. Grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's get into it. And if you find this useful, hit subscribe. There's a new episode every Thursday. Let's do it. So this evening we are talking about a fascinating subject of being yourself. Being yourself. Easier said than done. We could talk about this for a long time. I was sifting through my old university copy of Dante's La Divina Commedia. This is Inferno. Inferno, hell. And there's a famous line in Canto 15, line 55, which I'm sure you Italians, you know better than me, where Dante is spoken by, not by Dante, but by Brunetto Latini. Okay? Brunetto Latini, che è Dante's former mentor. And he said, se tu segui tua stella, non puoi fallire a glorioso porto. Excuse my Italiano. But basically, it means if you follow your star, you cannot fail to reach a glorious port. Very famous line from Inferno. It's clear what it means, isn't it? So even all the way back in Dante's time, people were saying that you should follow your destiny. So this is what today's subject is. And I found some other interesting quotes about this, because obviously it's not just Dante who wrote about this. There were plenty of people who have said the same thing, that it's important to be yourself. So here are a few more. The wonderful Oscar Wilde, who wrote The Importance of Being Earnest, amongst many other things. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. That's quite a famous one. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Taken in the same way as like a chair might be taken. So if you walk into a big room and there were lots of chairs, you say, is this seat taken? Okay. So here he's done the same, but with personality. So be yourself, because everyone else is taken. There's no point in sitting on someone else's chair. Sit on your own chair. The next one, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. So even going back to Ralph Waldo Emerson's time, the famous American poet from last century, even he understood that the world is trying to condition people to be all the same. Don't compromise yourself, you're all you've got, said Janis Joplin, the singer. And finally, you were born an original, don't die a copy. So which of these, this is by John Mason, an American philosopher. So which of these, or the one from Dante, do you prefer? Tell me in the chat. So we all agree then that it's better to be yourself. But what stops people from being themselves? Maybe you've had this in the past where you behaved differently. Maybe you weren't your true self with certain people. Why? And when might it happen? Okay, so today I prepared a short dictation for you on this subject. So we'll get started with the dictation. I thought we could do it a little bit quicker. Well, not quicker, but I'm going to read more words. Okay, so I don't think it's a particularly difficult dictation, maybe B2 plus. But this time you're going to have to train your brains to listen and understand that chunk of language and what rather than remembering every word. And then when you start writing, you can put it back together. Okay, let's just try it. It's an experiment. So get your pens and get your paper and let's do it. Are you ready? Okay. In a world driven by trends, comma, in a world driven by trends, comma, algorithms and endless comparisons, comma, algorithms and endless comparisons, comma, it's easy to feel like being yourself isn't quite enough. It's easy to feel like being yourself isn't quite enough. Full stop. Whether it's at work, comma, on social media, whether it's at work, comma, on social media, or even in language learning. Or even in language learning, comma, we often feel pressure to conform. We often feel pressure to conform. Dash, to sound a certain way, comma. To sound a certain way, comma. To hide our quirks, comma. To hide our quirks, comma. To fit the mold, in inverted commas. To fit the mold. I'll spell the word mold. That's M-O-U-L-D. To hide our quirks, to fit the mold. Full stop. End of paragraph. New paragraph. But the truth is, comma, authenticity stands out. But the truth is, authenticity stands out. People remember the person People remember the person who doesn't smooth down their edges. Who doesn't smooth down their edges. Full stop. Embracing your individuality, dash. Embracing your individuality, dash. Your voice, comma, your humour, comma, your accent. Your voice, comma, your humour, comma, your accent. Dash. Isn't a weakness, comma, it's your strength. Isn't a weakness, comma, it's your strength. Full stop. In language and in life, comma. In language and in life, comma. Fluency isn't just about blending in. Fluency isn't just about blending in. Dash. It's also about having the courage It's also about having the courage to show up as yourself. To show up as yourself. Full stop. End of dictation. Okay. So I'll read it again. I'll give you 30 seconds to relax. And then I'll read the whole text again, so you can fill in any missing words or just check what you wrote. Was it too fast for you? Too fast? Too slow? Just right. So I'm going to read it again now. In a world driven by trends, comma, algorithms and endless comparisons, comma, it's easy to feel like being yourself isn't quite enough, full stop. Whether it's at work, comma, on social media, or even in language learning, comma, we often feel pressure to conform, dash, to sound a certain way, comma, to hide our quirks, comma, to fit the mold, M-O-U-L-D, new paragraph. But the truth is, comma, authenticity stands out, full stop. People remember the person who doesn't smooth down their edges, full stop. Embracing your individuality, dash, your voice, comma, your humour, comma, your accent, dash, isn't a weakness, comma, it's your strength, full stop. In language and in life, fluency isn't just about blending in, it's also about having the courage to show up as yourself. Okay. So let me show you the text. And then I want some honest answers from you guys. Okay, we're all in this together. I want some honest answers. Okay, so in a world driven by trends, algorithms, and endless comparisons, it's easy to feel like being yourself isn't quite enough. Whether it's at work, on social media, or even in language learning, we often feel pressure to conform. Excuse me. To conform, to sound a certain way, to hide our quirks, to fit the mold. So a mold is a form, a hollow form, which you can shape something with. So for example, you might use a mold to make a cake. You might use it on the beach for children to make the shape of a fish with the sand. So it's called a mold. It's like the shape of something hollow, which you can fill with another material to make something in that shape. Is that clear? A mold. Okay. It's also a verb, to mold something into the shape you want. But the truth is, authenticity stands out. People remember the person who doesn't smooth down their edges. If you smooth something down, you make it smooth. Okay. Embracing maybe make it more acceptable. Embracing your individuality, your voice, your humor. Come on, who spelt this in the American way? Come on, I know you're there. I know, I'm pointing at you. Who wrote Humor? Come on, come on, come on. Okay, your accent isn't a weakness. Don't be sad. It's not wrong. In fact, it's just a different spelling, you know. But it's best to stick to one spelling, either American or English. If you start with English, British, then continue with British. So this is just to make you aware. But it's about your strength. Okay, come on, own up. Who spelt this with HT at the end? Come on, I'm watching you. I can see. I can see through the camera if you wrote HT at the end instead of TH. Wait. Okay. But for words where the final sound is th, for example, width or length, okay, that's th. So be careful with that. It's quite a common mistake. In language and in life, fluency isn't just about blending in. If you blend in, then you become like your surroundings, a bit like camouflage. It's also about having the courage to show up as yourself. And that is the end of today's dictation. How was it? How did you get on, guys? Okay. Well. Congratulations to all of you.